In this economy, we are always on the hunt for an affordable power station brand that we would actually recommend to you guys to help you guys get into the market and save some money at the same time. We thought we had the answer when we found the Oops products. Oh, it's pronounced Opus. And right now they are not only leading the charge, but they are the only affordable budget brand that we would actually recommend. But that doesn't mean the hunt is over. So when Aferiy? We've been calling it air fryer. When air fryer reached out to us, we figured, hey, why not give it a shot? So today we're checking out the thoughtfully designed, extremely heavy air fryer P210. So welcome back to the lab. As you guys know, our opinions cannot be bought. So today we put this kitchen appliance through some testing to find out if it's actually worth spending your hard-earned money on or if it's just another overheating pile of cheap flaming dog that you put in your closet and never use. Depending on how the testing and everything goes in this video, we will leave links to this unit and potentially some other units that we might recommend instead, as well as discount codes for whatever is applicable in the description down below. Otherwise, you guys are probably not familiar with the air fryer P210, so we're gonna hit you guys with a super quick 60-second spec teardown to get everyone familiar with this power station. First up, it passes the tiny baby lift test, but it weighs 48.5 pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot for a tiny little unit like this. That's fucking heavy. It's got a 2048 watt hour battery and a 2400 watt pure sine wave inverter, which says it has like a 4800 watt peak surge, which
you find out later, I guess.
It's questionable. I'm not entirely sure where they got the name P210 because 210 doesn't come up once in any of the specs, but hey, it has a suspiciously low AC input of 1100 watts. So you can plug this thing directly into a wall outlet in your house to charge it up, but it's about 700 watts slower charging than most other power stations. It also has a 500 watt solar input. Wish that was a little bit higher. In terms of ports, underneath this little flap right here, you do have 6 120 volt wall outlets, which is actually really nice. That's a lot more than some of the other power stations on the market. You have 2 USBs and 4 USB-Cs on the front, as well as your XT60 solar connection as an output port. Questionable. You also have 2 barrel connectors and this is not a 12 volt car socket. This bad boy is a cigarette lighter. And then underneath the flap on the other side is where you have your AC input and your solar connection, which has a label that says do not exceed the 50 volts, whatever. Normally you shouldn't, but it makes me question the MPPT that's inside of this, because normally if you put too much voltage into a unit, it just shuts it off. It doesn't allow it in. This one says if you put more than 50 volts, you will just blow the unit up. So I'm curious as to what's actually happening inside this thing. In terms of the screen on this guy is actually nice. I really like it. It's clean, it's crisp, it's easy to see. The camera hates picking it up, but what are you gonna do? And Air Fryer claims to have a 7-year warranty on their products, which is funny because they've only been around for 7 years, right? And when it comes to price, this thing's kind of all over the place. Regular price is $14.99. It's currently on sale for $13.99, and there's a $400 coupon at checkout, which makes it $1,000. For $1,000, a 2000 watt hour battery bank, that's not terrible if it works.
It's an expensive air fryer though.
It is an expensive air fryer. When it comes to testing, one of the first and most important tests that we run all these power stations through is efficiency. The reason efficiency is important is because if this says it has a 2000 watt hour battery bank and you run a 1000 watt air conditioner off of this bad boy, you would expect it to last 2 hours. If it's 100% efficient, which is never the case. So efficiency is just good to know so you can accurately rely on how long this thing is gonna last you. So this is a 2048 watt hour battery bank with a 2400 watt inverter. So we ran a 2245 watt load, which is right near the peak of this inverter, which means that the fans are running, the inverter's working hard. That's when it's gonna be at its least efficient. And this thing should have been able to run the load for 55 minutes. It actually lasted 43 minutes, which makes it about 78% efficient. Honestly, that's actually pretty standard across the board, even with some bigger name brands. When you're running something right near the inverter, we generally see about 80% efficiency. So not good, but not bad. What I I did really like was even at 0%, turned off the inverter, everything, it stayed on and the fans were still running. It saved just enough battery to run the fans for actually about 15, 20 minutes. I let it go to see what it would do. And it's one of the only power stations that we have that does that. Historically, other power stations, we've had problems where they overheat and then shut off, which makes it even worse. So I love that someone took the time to program the fans staying on even once the unit dies to prevent it from overheating. When it comes to charging, we plugged this thing into an 120 volt AC outlet in our house, and it should have charged in about 2 hours with the 1100 watt input. And it actually charged in 2 hours and 17 minutes, so pretty good. When it comes to surge, it doesn't. It limits voltage, which you guys know makes me absolutely irate. It doesn't surge at all. Doesn't want to surge at all. When it finds itself being brought past the surge limit, because each of these is 1500, so 2 of them is 3000. So you can hear each one incrementally pull voltage as you go higher. That's the most dramatic because it's trying to keep all of that within 2400 watts. So that's very weird and also not good for any of your appliances. Check this out. If you got some loads plugged in, you start way less than you should be. You should be at 120 just to begin with. You're starting at 109. Flick on one heat gun. You see it dip a little bit. That's basically the inverter, just over the inverter's max, so it's already pulling a little bit of voltage at 105. This is the one that's actually plugged in to that plug, and it's pulling all the way back to 85.2 volts, which is terribly bad. And for reference, if you go ahead and plug this into a regular wall outlet in your house, you should be getting 119 to 120-ish volts. I was gonna use the wall as this example, but we'll use a different power station just to show you guys. Right now it's on 118 volts, close enough. Flick this on. It stays there. You shouldn't have that fluctuating. If anything, it'll just trip and shut off. It should never pull voltage, dude. That's so bad. Limiting your voltage on a heat gun or a light bulb is okay, but if you had something like a computer plugged in, it would not be okay. So huge boo to the voltage limiting. In terms of sound, this unit is actually not bad. It's medium, which is good because when we first turned it on for the very first time, it makes this very scary noise. I thought it was gonna run like an 1850s computer. It sounds like it's gonna be just the biggest hunk of shit when you turn it on, but it actually doesn't get much louder than that at all. Solar input works. It's only 500 watts, and we have basically 200 watt panel arrays everywhere, so we were only able to put 400 watts into this, but it worked. I guess it's not a lot of solar, but it accepts it. It would take 4.5 hours if you're perfectly getting 500 watts, and we plugged a 400 watt array in, and due to the fact that where the sun was and yada, 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 we were only getting 300 watts. So when you plug in 5, you're probably gonna get closer to 4, which means
It's a weird size, too.
it's just stupid. It's like choosing to have a small wiener. I mean, it's cute, but like at the end of the day. And the last test that we ran this power station through was pass through. If you have something running off of the unit, can you plug AC or solar into it, keep powering that device, and then put the extra power into the battery bank? And the answer is yes. This thing accepts both solar pass-through and AC pass-through, which is good news. When it comes to things we like, there is actually quite a few from this little air fryer. And the first one is that, similar to an air fryer, how it beeps when your food is almost done, this thing beeps when it gets to 10%. I actually really like that. I really don't think we've ever had a power station that beeps when it's almost dead. Normally they beep when they die. This thing, when you're using it, it gets to 10%, throws you a couple warning beeps. I'm getting low. I really like that. Like, I genuinely like that. I also really like what we were just touching on with the fans. I like that they stay on after it's dead, and they run a lot. The fans run a lot, even if it's just warm. If you put this outside, the fans just come on to keep it cool. Whoever programmed the fans did a good job. We didn't have any overheating problems with this unit, and I like that. And we also just like the design of this thing. It's actually a decent looking power station. The handles are nice, everything's convenient and bricked up and built just easy to stack and move, aside from being super heavy. And there's also a little compartment on the top right here for you to store all the cords and everything that it came with.
Or steam some rice.
Or steam some rice. There's a ton of ports. I really like that there's all these USB-Cs on the front, and there's 6 120. You can't even use these all to their max. Like, you'll be over the limit of the inverter. But I like that there's that many ports. It makes it super versatile. And I also really like these doors. They stay up. People take notes on this dude. Most other doors, you put it up like this, you plug something in, falls down on your fingers.
Erectile dysfunction.
Exactly. This does not suffer from ED, and I appreciate that. See this? And the last thing that we really like about this power station, of course, is the light. You guys know I'm a huge light guy. I absolutely love lights on power stations. They're so useful. Thank you for putting a light on this power station air fryer. There is, though, a few things we don't like about the air fryer. The biggest one to me is, again, and this is a problem that even Oops suffers from, they're trying to be EcoFlow. This is EcoFlow font right here on the front. Their website is just riddled with photos from EcoFlow, from Jackery, exact replicas just with an air fryer instead of a Jackery or an EcoFlow unit in the picture. It wouldn't give me confidence if I just stumbled across these guys randomly and I found their website. I would just go, ugh, and I would leave because that doesn't look real. Point here is we would love to see some originality. We're gonna continuously say this. Just, you put this much effort, okay? I have this thing in front of me. It exists in real life. Just put another couple days into your website.
Paint it green.
Yeah. This?
Yeah, just paint it green. Like,
No. God, shut up.
They could just change color.
Yeah, just put a couple more days into your website, be original, give people a reason to trust you. Which bleeds into our next point. It's really hard for someone to trust you when your only phone number on your website.
When you're advertising in the US market and you've got a Hong Kong phone number on your website.
Well said. And the Hong Kong phone number doesn't even work. We tried to call it.
All right, give her a ring, dude.
Yeah, we've been mystery shopping a lot of companies lately. So we actually tried to call these guys to see what's up. The phone number is inactive, which kind of sucks. Lastly, I really hate that it limits voltage. That's not something that is okay. Like, that's not acceptable. It should just surge, tell you, no, you're using too much or something. The fact that it will cut volts from 120 all the way down and just keep pulling it just to keep it within the inverter's limits, it's terrible for the device that you're trying to run. So, like, just stop doing that. I also wish there was an app, not a game changer, but an app is always nice just to control your unit from afar or at least receive notifications if it's getting low, that kind of thing. And the weirdest thing that this unit does that I don't know why I don't like, it just bugs the hell out of me, is right now it says output and I don't even know why because none of the inverters are on, but good for it. When you turn on the DC inverter ports, I guess it's not really an inverter, this little cigarette pops up on the screen. And I was so confused at first why the cigarette's there, and I realized that this used to be called a cigarette lighter. In the 80s, into the 90s, it became a 12-volt car socket some time ago. I've been calling it a cigarette lighter my whole life, and I've been getting shit on since I was very young, saying it's not a cigarette lighter. These guys just called it a cigarette lighter still, but they put a cigarette on the screen when you turn on the cigarette lighter as if like you are gonna light a cigarette. It's encouraging bad habits. At the end of the day, this unit didn't do as bad as some of the other budget brands that we have tried out. It never overheated. It never gave us any dramatic problems during us using it. Would I recommend it? No, I wouldn't. I would. If you're looking for a budget brand, I would recommend you check out Opus, sorry. I gotta stop doing that. And if you're looking to just get something that you can trust or rely on, kind of similar to size like this, I would recommend you check out the Anker F2000 or the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max, Delta Max? Their names are dumb. The EcoFlow Delta Max. We'll leave links to the, if you want to check out a budget, if you want to check out something else, EcoFlow, Anker, whatever. Both those units are a little bit more expensive, but it will be well worth it. That is all we got for you guys. If there is some other brands that you recommend that we check out on our hunt for affordable power station brands, leave them in the comments down below. Otherwise, we will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.